Hey guys, it's Edward Stevens from the Stevens Group at Reese Nichols, and I'm going to be doing something a little bit different today. I found an article online that was apparently published just yesterday, the 23rd of December. So if you're watching this, the day I'm recording it, it's the day before Christmas, 24th of December, 2018. And I saw this article, 13 Things Real Estate Agents Don't Want You to Know. It's written by somebody named Selena Marijuan, I believe that's how you pronounce it. I have not read the full article. I have only glanced over it and seen some of the highlights because I wanted to read it here for you and give you my initial reaction as well as get your reaction in real time. By the way, if at any point you like this video, feel free to smash the like button, share this video with somebody you think might get some enjoyment out of watching it. And feel free to participate throughout. I'll try to respond to comments as we go through, or you can drop your comments. Any that I miss, I will respond to after the video is over because I am doing this on Facebook Live. Okay, I tried to do the screen sharing thing. The technology thing just did not work today, so I'm going to read this. I'm going to read it in chunks, and then I'll give you my response as I feel necessary. And if you respond, if you have a strong response, just go ahead and type it in the comment section. Okay. So here we go. By the way, this is from the Motley Fool. So if you want to go to www, I don't even know what that is, but it's some kind of website that, comes across every once in a while on Facebook. It's www.fool.com/retirement/2018. I'll put the link in the description so you can see it there for the full article. 13 things real estate agents don't want you to know. Enter the home buying or home selling process with your eyes open, working with a great agent in order to get the best price, published, like I said, yesterday. When you buy a home, it's probably the most expensive, and I'm going to be reading here now. So when you buy a home, it's probably the most expensive thing you'll ever buy, and you're probably not that experienced in the home buying process. Thus, it's useful to have a real estate agent working for you. Okay, seems fair. Many prospective home buyers don't fully know exactly how their relationship with a real estate agent works, and that can lead to misunderstandings that could cost them money. Be sure to enlist and use a real estate agent with your eyes open and be aware of the 13 things below. Okay, seems mild so far. Seems fair so far. Number one, a real estate agent may not be as good as you think. All real estate agents are not equally skilled or experienced. It's worth spending some time interviewing some agents you might use, asking how long they've been in the business, whether they do it full-time or on the side, how many homes they've sold, and what their strengths are, and so on. Be sure they're familiar with the particular town and or neighborhood where you're planning to buy or sell a home. Ask for references to and or look for reviews about them on real estate and other websites. Okay, pause. So yes, that's true. I would say consult your referrals. If you have a referral base of friends, family members, people that you trust, people that are influential in your life, talk to those people first. Zillow, like I have told in other Facebook Live videos, is a great way to look at real estate agents and interview them or screen them, because a lot of real estate agents have testimonials on Zillow. I know I do, as well as their past sales, where they've sold, how much they've sold the houses for. So if you're looking for an agent that sells in a particular area or a particular price point, you can go to Zillow and check that out. Okay, number two, the commission may be negotiable. All right, now the real fun begins. Whenever a home is sold, commission fees are generally paid to the buyer's and seller's agent. They typically total 6%. With each agent getting 3%. That can seem non-negotiable as it is an industry standard, but any seller you're working with may consider it, and any seller you're with may consider it non-negotiable too. But in many cases, agents will negotiate. If the home you're buying is very pricey, for example, they may be willing to shave off a percentage point. After all, if you're buying a $1.5 million house, a 3% commission is a whopping $45,000. And reducing it to 2% still will get them a hefty $30,000. You also may be able to negotiate a lower fee when you're first signing up with an agent, because an agent who really wants you for a client may be willing to negotiate. Pause. So I think this contradicts number one, because if you are trying to get the Maserati, the Rolls Royce of real estate agents, you have to be willing to pay for that. And it's the agents that are going to reduce their commissions and reduce their profitability that are going to reduce your profitability when you sell. And here's what I mean. One of the main characteristics of a real estate agent is his or her ability to be a tough negotiator and negotiate on behalf of you and your bottom line. If they can't even negotiate their own commission to get the commission that they need to support themselves and their family and their business, what in the world makes you think they're going to give a damn about you? What's going to drive them to help you? They don't care about you more than they care about themselves. So there's got to be some kind of ulterior motive. I have felt this way since the beginning, since 3 years ago when I got into this business. You know, there are people out there that are willing to work for free. It's just like any business. It doesn't matter if you're putting roofs on houses. It doesn't matter if you're cleaning houses. It doesn't matter if you're selling cars. It doesn't matter if you're selling houses. It doesn't matter whether you're doing anything in this world. There's always somebody that's willing to do your work for less. And if you go to the number one whatever in that field and you think you're going to grind that guy down, chances are he's going to walk away from you and tell you that you probably need to go talk to somebody who's not as good as him who can sell your house. In fact, if the person that you're talking to and you're grinding their commission down is not telling you that, if they start coming down 1 percentage point like this little article says here, I'd fire him just for that. I wouldn't hire the guy just for that. Of course, I don't have the gall to ask somebody to reduce their commission unless I'm just testing them. But I'm not that cruel. But if some people are, if some of you guys are out there, think about what that really means. The person you're asking to work for you is willing to reduce how much they're willing to take from you. What does that really mean? Okay, number 3, they may have a conflict of interest. This is a biggie. I'm reading again. If you're looking to buy a home and you sign up with a real estate agent, that agent may not always be serving you in your best possible way because you're not the one paying them. It's always the seller who covers the commission costs of both the buyer's and seller's agents. Stop. Well, I'll continue to read. There's 2 more sentences and then I'll tell you my opinion on that. So your agent may be keeping seller's interest in mind to some degree during the searching and buying process, and they may be communicating some things about you to the seller's agent. Okay, that's not always true. There are some buyers, although there are few, that will cover the commission on a sale if the first sale by owner does not cover your commission. If you're buying a house and you want a representation and the seller's not willing to pay for that commission that your agent requires, you're still more than happy to, you're more than able, I should say, to pay your real estate agent's commission. As far as leaking out information, that goes back to number 1. If you don't trust that the person you're working with is going to keep what you're saying about yourself and your bottom line confidential, just fire him. Just fire the guy and get somebody else. If you're working with, like this thing says, the most valuable asset you're going to buy, the most valuable thing you're going to buy, and you're dealing with somebody you can't trust, just cut him off. Just fire the person. Get somebody else. You don't need to go through the whole deal being paranoid. It's ridiculous. I think the person who wrote this article has trust issues, by the way. Maybe they got burned in the past. I don't know anything about it. But let's go ahead and keep reading. Okay, number 4, you should use a buyer's agent if you're looking to buy. Oh, this is going to be good. Don't just hire a listing agent to help you buy a home. It's generally best to use a buyer's agent as he or she will be legally bound to help your best interests at heart, legally bound to keep your best interests at heart, guiding you through the process and offering advice along the way. Some agents focus exclusively on buyers and don't take on properties to list and sell at all. True. Make sure that you get a buyer's agency agreement signed with the person you're working with if you are buying a house. If you don't have this person that you're working with under a buyer's agency agreement, they're more than likely working for the other side. They're more than likely trying to get you to pay the most amount of money possible on the house so that they can net the greatest commission. Only a buyer's agency agreement, as it's called, is going to bind them to work in your best interest. Now, there is something called transaction broker. If I had a relationship with with a seller, and then I had a relationship with you as a buyer, and we cross paths, and you guys want to do the deal, everybody wants to do the deal, and there's one agent involved. In the state of Kansas, I have to remain neutral during that. Those are very rare circumstances, and I think it's the fairest way to do it. But yeah, I mean, there's some people who only want to deal with the listing agent. I advertise on Zillow, and I do hear that occasionally. People will call in and they want to talk to the listing agent. They want information from the listing agent. They want to negotiate only with the listing agent. These are people who are going to end up paying the most for houses. These are people who think that they're more savvy than a buyer's agent. And again, with the trust issues, if you're going to deal with an agent anyway, and it's not going to cost you anything, make them work for you. Next. Number 5, you may be able to buy or sell a home without an agent. You've seen those for sale by owner signs before, and you may want to park one in your own yard too. Read up on it first, though, because going it alone can involve a lot more work on your part, and you won't be able to pick the brain of a savvy real estate professional throughout the process either. You'll also be up against real estate professionals who have much more experience than you do. Doing your own selling still will have costs, such as perhaps a fee to list your home in the MLS system, but there's a good chance you'll end up with a higher net proceeds from the sale, though. That's not a sure thing. Okay, selling on your own means you may take some of the costly errors too, such as showing the home when it's not looking its best. Even if you sell your own home, you still may be paying a fee to the buyer's agent unless they're buying on their own too, like if the buyer's buying without an agent. If you're buying or selling on your own, it's smart to involve at least a real estate lawyer to go over and prepare documents. Yes, I think everybody knows you don't have to use a real estate agent. You don't have to use a mechanic when you get your oil changed. You could do your own everything. What makes America great, one of the things that makes America great, is that we leverage specialists. People specialize in things. You think about every little tiny niche in every single industry. There's somebody out there who knows how to do it really well here in this country. We've gotten to this level of civilization because we are willing to pay somebody to do it better than we do it so that they can do it faster. We can get it done faster, and we can move on to what we want to spend our time with. Okay, that's no different with real estate agents. Most for sale by owners sell for less money. A lot of for sale by owners, they are in denial, especially in the beginning, about what it's going to take to sell the house. Some people, and this is just based on years of experience working with people who sell their houses themselves initially, is they underestimate the effort that it's going to take. They cave in to an offer that is subpar because they are worn down by the selling process. And you have to think about it like a video game. When you are selling your house, you have an energy bar, and that energy bar is getting depleted every single day. Every time a real estate agent calls you, if you're a seller, and they're pitching you about why they should be listing your house, that energy bar is going down a little bit. When that energy bar gets into the red zone and it crosses over the threshold, you're gonna likely sell your house, okay? Or you're gonna list your house with somebody. But a lot of people, they just hold out. They are so focused on not listing their house with anybody that they are desperate, and the first person to bring them a halfway decent offer, they're gonna sell their house to them. By the way, if you're a buyer, it's not a coincidence that a lot of investors target for sell by owners. A lot of cash buyers, investors, people who are looking to make big profits, target these for sell by owners. It's not a coincidence that people who wholesale properties, go buy it at X and then they mark it up and then they sell the contract off to somebody else for a profit. do that with people who are not represented by a listing agent. It's not a coincidence. They do that to exploit people. It's just like in law. You don't go into the courtroom and try to represent yourself and think that that's going to go well. Number 6, your agent may not want you to buy a lower priced house. This is another conflict of interest, and it will not be true of every realtor, including yours, but it could be. Most agents are paid a percentage of the selling price of the home. Given that arrangement, with all things being equal, the agent would rather you buy a $300,000 home instead of a $250,000 home, because that would deliver a $9,000 payment instead of a $7,500 one at a 3% commission rate. A higher priced home may actually serve your needs better than a lower priced one, and your agent may honestly point that out. But remember that an agent stands to benefit if you buy a more costly home. That is true, especially if you have a real estate agent, or if you are a real estate agent who is short-term minded. If you're somebody who's planning to be in this space for a very long time and build your database and build your network of contacts up so that these people do repeat and referral business with you, then you're going to look at the lifetime value of that customer. And again, it doesn't matter if you're selling, you're selling anything. You could sell any tangible or intangible good. If the person that you're serving believes that you're crooked, believes that you overcharged them for the house, overcharged them for your services, whatever, led them to a bad decision, they're not going to use you again. They're not going to refer their friends and family to you. And the $1,500 more that you made in this example is going to be lost 100-fold, because the lifetime value of that client is going to go from let's just say $90,000, because you know them for like 30 years, and like let's say you 10 transactions with them. So like let's say it's $7,500, so that would be $75,000 to $9,000, because you did it one time and you screwed them and they didn't like you anymore. So, and by the way, I think a lot of those people that do that, they churn. They come into the business, then they're back out of the business. Then they're on to something else. They're not lifetime agents. They cannot build a sustainable business, and they're always chasing a new lead. Not because they're always chasing the next deal, because they don't have a referral base that's providing them continuous business. Hopefully that makes sense. So number 7 is your agent may be overly optimistic, suggesting a selling price. It's often in everyone's best interest if the selling price of a house, or for the selling price of a house to be set at a very reasonable level based on comparable recent sales in the same neighborhood. Some agents will be overly optimistic, though, suggesting a very high selling price. Yes, you might get that price, but there's a good chance you won't. And if your home lingers unsold for a long time, buyers will lose interest and may even start suspecting that there might be something wrong with the home. An agent might suggest too high of a price for a variety of reasons, such as honestly wanting you to get as much possible for the home, wanting a bigger commission for themselves, or perhaps just due to inexperience or bad math. It can be smart to get proposed listing prices from several agents, which also will give you a chance to meet and interview several professionals, possibly to hire. Keep in mind that some agents may even suggest a too low price, as that can help the home sell more quickly and require less work. Yes, especially true when you are selling your home yourself, and just forget that. Anytime you start to get greedy as a seller, anytime you get greedy when you go and buy anything from anywhere for any reason, if you get greedy, you're going to get taken advantage of. If you go onto a car lot and you are greedy about the maximum amount of money that you're going to be able to get for your trade-in, and you only buy the car, your next car, from the company that gives you the lot that gives you the highest trade-in value, you're probably going to get taken advantage of, if that's the only criteria that you're using. If you hire a real estate agent based only on who tells you that they can get you the most for the house, you're probably going to get taken advantage of. Do you know how easy it is to lie to people about what their house is worth? I see it every day. I see people lie or become overly optimistic or fib or whatever about what people's houses are worth. I started selling real estate I started selling my real estate services to people who were for sale by owners. That's how I started my business. I started door knocking, and I started with people who had a house to sell, but they didn't want to use a real estate agent. And I found in the beginning that, I'll read this comment, okay. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that, James. I appreciate the compliment. Merry Christmas to you. I found in the beginning that I was losing deals. I was losing opportunities to serve clients because there'd be a seller, they'd have a $300,000 house to sell, and they would interview 4 agents, and I'd say, your house is overpriced. You cannot get $300,000 for your house. I mean, you may, but the odds are very unlikely that you're going to get $300,000 for your house. Based on the comparables, and I'll show you the comparables, and we can even drive out there and I can show you comparable sales. Your house is worth $270 max. And what would happen inevitably would be somebody would come along and say, I can get you $300,000. Forget that. I can get you over $300,000. I'll roll my commissions into the cost of the house. What your payoff will be exactly the same because you'll net the same as if you sold the house for $300. So, we're going to sell it for $318, right? So we're going to put $18,000 worth of commissions into the price, so you don't have to really pay anything else. And we're going to list the house for $318,000, and that's what they list it for. And I see it, and I'm like, and this was in the early days. I mean, this doesn't happen so much anymore because I know how to have these conversations with people. But in the beginning, I just saw it. And I was like, why did they do that? I mean, this person is like, I'm emotional. I get a little bit emotional, at least back then I was, and I'll be like, that person lied to that family and said they could get $318,000 for the house. And I'm competitive, and I don't want to lose to other listing agents. So, I'm looking on Zillow one day and I'm like, okay, I've been calling this person, following up. I see the house is listed for $318,000. I'm like, $318? How did anybody get that price out there? Why did anybody agree to list it for that? And it sits. It does not sell. And some agents know that they can take a listing for $318, start working the seller down over time. Again, the energy bar analogy that we talked about. And they can say, okay, we need to drop the price now. It's been 3 weeks. We need to drop it to 210 or 310, and then we need to drop it to 305, and then we need to drop it to 300, and then we need to drop it to 295, and then it's out there for 180 days and still hasn't sold, and eventually sells for, like, let's say 270 or 260 or something like that. Up something around the price that I had suggested originally, and it just took like 3/4 of a year to sell it. So it's the people that are greedy that are so focused on that top line price, and they're not looking at the total package, that have that sort of thing happen to them. You gotta analyze the whole package when you're dealing with a listing agent. You have to look at their marketing plan, you have to look at their track record, and you have to look at the financials of what they're willing to list your house for, what they're willing to take away in terms of commissions. And you have to do some other things too, but just listening to the first guy that's going to tell you, oh, I can get you $400,000 for your house, you're setting yourself up for disaster. Let's move on. Don't automatically trust your agent's references or reviews. Yes, this is cynical, and many reviews and references will be genuine, but some agents will be giving out their numbers to friends or relatives who have been coached to say glowing things, and these folks may have been asked to leave positive reviews on various sites as well. Do check references or reviews, of course, but perhaps when possible, ask a few questions such as how the person found the agent in the first place and how specifically the agent impressed them. Correct. That's why I like Zillow. You have to be, they have to verify that you did the work, you did a transaction with the person. And yeah, I mean, that goes without saying. Let's move on. 9. There may be fine print on a contract you sign. When you sign an agreement with an agent, you have, to have them represent you, make sure you know exactly what's in the contract. Find out what commission they'll be getting, whether it's the standard 3% or something higher or lower, and whether you'll be on the hook for any other payments to them. Sometimes there may be a charge listed as something like an administrative fee, and you'll need to find out what that's for. After all, administrative costs are generally included in the standard commission. You may be able to negotiate any other fee away or at least shrink it. Correct. Read the contract. If you don't understand a contract, do not sign it. This is just part of being an adult. Do not sign a contract that you do not understand. Do not sign a contract that you do not read. And if you do that, you do it at your own peril. I'm an honest guy. I have people sign contracts. I explain the contracts ahead of time. I go over the contracts with my clients. And if you're a real estate agent, you should do the same thing. Or if you're any professional to get somebody to sign something, make sure you go over it ahead of time. And go over the fine print. Number 10. Some agents have a home inspector in their pockets. If you're buying a home, your agent may arrange for the home inspection to be done by an inspector that he or she knows and recommends. That's convenient, but you may prefer to find your own home inspector who's highly recommended by others. One that your agent uses a lot may be reluctant to find gobs of problems because they could stop the sale from going through. This is true, however, I have found that the opposite is more likely. More than likely, the real estate agent's going to have an inspector that's going to do a good job, because if they recommend an inspector that doesn't do a good job and they find after they buy the home that there's a lot of problems that home inspector did not find, and if you're a buyer, you will find it. You'll find it eventually. And you remember that your home inspector was recommended by your real estate agent. You're going to call your real estate agent. Your real estate agent is going to be held responsible. It's just like, your real estate agent is going to be held responsible for most of the things that go on during the transaction. If they have a lender that they recommend to you and it doesn't go well, your agent's going to get the blame. Home inspector, agent's going to get the blame. What I see happen a lot, though, is, not a lot, but I do see it happen sometimes. Agents will say, hey, so-and-so is a really good agent. I trust so-and-so, or so-and-so is a really good home inspector. They do a really good job. I've used them a lot in the past. They're very reasonably, as far as their costs. They have a really good eye. They explain things really well. And the buyer of the home cheaps out and says, oh, I found somebody, your guy charges $500. I know a guy that can do it for $375, and that's what I'm going to do. And the guy who does it for $375 misses things, and then the buyer's pissed off because, it's a contract. And I mean, you don't have an infinite amount of time to do inspections. We just had that happen not too long ago where, there was an inferior home inspector that contributed to the loss of a deal for a buyer of mine, and it just was not a good situation. So, pick a good home inspector. Your real estate agents are in the business. They know who's good and who's not. And if again, it's trust issues. If you don't trust your real estate agent to be working in your best interest, fire the guy. Cut him off. Just cut him off. If you ever think this guy's lying to you, fire him and get somebody in here. I mean, most people know when somebody's lying to them. Use common sense. Number 11, an open house might serve your agent more than you. This is good to know, but it won't always be the case. Many homes get sold via open houses where the buyers drop in and decide they would like to live there. Open houses also can be a chance for other real estate agents to see your home, enabling them to tell their own clients about it if it seems suitable and of likely interest. It's worth noting, too, that an open house also can serve your agent because when folks come in to see the home, your agent can chat with them and get their contact info, hoping to become their agent in their home search. Correct. This is correct. But, good luck selling your house unless your house is incredibly unique and very, very, very high priced. good luck selling your house without any open houses. Open houses are instrumental for us. We sell a lot of our houses in part because we do open houses. We do open houses on our listings more often than most agents do open houses on theirs. That gets us more traffic. It gets us more clicks online. It gets us more showings and more offers. If you're worried that your real estate agent is not promoting your house, which I think is what this author is getting at, not promoting your house in the best possible light, which is their fiduciary responsibility, fire them. And I think most people know that. I mean, if a buyer comes in and says, "Oh, I live around the corner, but I'm actually just looking to downsize, and I don't want to live in this area anymore. I'm just wondering what houses are going for." Well, if I'm a real estate agent, why wouldn't I want to help them? Obviously, they have no interest in selling or buying your house. So what am I supposed to do with that opportunity? My job is to sell houses and close deals and get people moved. So, duh. Number 12. If you sign up with a big-time agent, you might not get their full attention. If you see the same agent's name on gobs of homes, first, I don't like the way this person talks. I think this person, I'm going to go out on a limb and say this person's a loser. She's got a problem with people who are successful. I'll say that. Maybe she's not a loser. I don't know her, but come on. If you see the same agent's name on gobs of homes for sale all over town, and it's clear that they do a lot of business, you naturally might want to enlist them to help you buy or sell a home. After all, they may have been in the business for a long time and be very knowledgeable with lots of handy contacts among other agents and tradespeople. But be careful. If they're as busy as they seem to be, you might not get their full attention. They may have someone else at their company doing much of the legwork. It can be good to clarify up front just how much of the work the star will be doing and how much will be delegated to others. Yes, most people who are successful use leverage. Most people who are successful at doing anything use leverage. There's a book called The Millionaire Real Estate Agent that defines very clearly how to use leverage, and the Keller Williams franchise is based on that book. I'm not a Keller Williams agent. I'm a Reese Nichols agent, but I mean, yes, whether you are a doctor or a lawyer or a real estate professional or a mechanic or anything, you're likely going to have somebody answering the phones, dealing with administrative tasks, and things of that nature, so that you can focus on what's your highest and best use of your time and what your specific skills are. So what difference does it make if you're hiring a multi-million-dollar producer and they use an assistant to drive the sign out to your house and put the sign in the yard? That's fine. As long as the agent's getting the job done and you're happy with the overall experience and the people that you have to interact with are professional, courteous, they can communicate well, they're timely, what's the issue? Do you really need the number one real estate agent in the Kansas City metro driving to your house to put flyers in your flyer box outside of your house? Or is it okay if their assistant does it? Does it really matter? Probably not. Okay, number 13. Maybe you shouldn't buy a home or sell yours. Since agents get paid for selling your home or helping you buy one, they won't be eager to tell you that maybe you shouldn't buy or sell a home right now. So be sure to consider that carefully on your own. For example, if you're not going to be in the home for very long, it might not be worth it buying it and paying closing costs and a lot of mortgage interest when you could just rent. Similarly, if your financial situation is a bit shaky, you might not want to sign up for mandatory monthly mortgage payments that also are often accompanied by various repair and maintenance costs. Meanwhile, if the current real estate market is greatly favoring buyers and there's a glut of properties on the market, you may not get a good price for your home. If you have the flexibility to stay put, that might be your best move. I started asking people about a year ago. I started better qualifying my clients because I would find that the people who were the hardest to work with and the people who were hardest to serve are the people who really didn't need to move. They had no external motivation for moving. in the first place. So now in my initial consultation, I do like to find out why people want to move, why people want to buy or sell, why not rent, why not stay, why not do these things? And if they have legitimate reasons, as I deem them to be, then we have the potential to work together. If people really are just only half-hearted about moving, it's not worth my time as a real estate agent to put my time and resources into you. It's not worth my time and energy and money to put my resources into moving you if you don't really need to move. So yeah, stay put. Just stay put. And who knows? Maybe it's the best thing for you financially too. Okay, is that the last one? That was the last one. So make sure that that's okay. Let me just conclude with this. So I know that was a long video, guys. I know there's people who have a lot of things, good, bad, and different, to say about real estate agents. If you are at all interested in putting your comments or reactions to this article or my response to this article in the comments section, that would be great, and then I can see them and I can respond to them, or other people can respond to them. Hopefully you've had a great experience with a past real estate agent. If you haven't, maybe you should be calling me. And that's it for now. Happy Merry Christmas Eve, and we'll talk to you guys really soon. It's Edward Stevens from the Stevens Group at Reese Nichols out here selling houses. Have a good one. Bye-bye.